Okay, we're live. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Nate, and this is Lorian, and we're going to place our last round of middle school here in the Romancing the Stones Middle School League. Lorian, thanks for joining me tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, I actually have no idea what they're playing. Either of these players are playing.
Yeah, so I looked
Offhand,
at it beforehand.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Tweety, who's on the Romancing the Stones playmat, he's on like a black, mostly black splash green reanimator deck
that's
that
right. That's what
runs
he's on. Yep.
Necropotence and Pernicious Deed. And then Steve is on green-white Terrageddon.
Is he really? That's
Yeah,
awesome. See, I don't. I should have looked at the list. I actually finished my tournament the other day. I should have actually then broken my, not looking at the lists that I have access to because it makes me feel weird.
right,
But
right.
that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, me
Let's,
too. I was trying to think of through like who might be favored. I think the Swords to Plowshares are going to be very good, but Tweety has lots of disruption, so I'm not sure. And Pernicious Deed too. So it's got a
well,
lot of
it's
heavy hitters.
Armageddon. It's Armageddon versus Necropotence, which is a sort of classic matchup, right?
Hmm.
I'm looking at this deck now. He's got 4 Mother of Ruins, a Weathered Wayfarer, 4 Werebear, 4 Wildmonger. He does have an Anorite Brushhopper, which I absolutely love. This actually is close to the deck I was working on for the next league if we have one. I don't know if when we're gonna start one up again.
Yeah,
Actually,
you know it.
it's like
This deck in
21st.
particular seems very almost like too fair to me to be good, but it's been very impressive in the games that I've watched it play, especially with the threat of Armageddon coming down and just basically, whatever's on board is what's going to get there.
People forget that Armageddon is good.
Yeah, very, very, especially against control pernicious deed decks and standstill decks.
This is also a Mox Diamond land tax deck, which is really cool.
Yep, yep.
Um,
And then
Sorry.
Tweety's got some smothers that are going to be very good here because it literally hits every creature that Steve has.
Um, just confirming that is the case, and it does appear to be. But he's got Mother of Runes, which really messes with the sort of the spot removal plan, right?
That's true. That's true. But then he also has pernicious deed. So
Yeah.
I'll be
Pernicious
interested to
Deed.
see.
Yeah. Deed is the real, sort of trump card that Tweety's going to have, where he's going to try and wipe his board of permanents after Steve wipes the board of lands.
Right.
What did he lead on there? Looks like a forest.
Yeah, just a forest.
Man, I love Anorite Brushhopper. I think that's so cool, and I feel like it's underplayed with all the
Yeah.
things that you can do in these formats.
Yeah, especially with land tax. It's that's one thing to do with your extra lands.
There's a Werebear. That's a big boy for a mana dork.
Yeah. This is kind of a slower start for Steve. He didn't have a turn one Mox Diamond.
No, we get to turn two Werebear, which is not
That's very
quite as
solid.
good, but yeah, he's still ahead on board. And I wonder what Tweety named this Cabal Therapy.
He named Armageddon.
Okay.
I've got their volumes very low, so,
Yeah.
so it's not too distracting.
I can't have him up without it blowing up the stream. So.
Oh, okay.
um. So it looks like that was a. Oh, you said he named Armageddon.
He named Armageddon, yeah.
Because I would, there's a good chance that if you're Steve in this position, that you could just play land and Armageddon on the next turn. Especially if Brian didn't put a permanent into play, you're just gonna set him back by 2 lands, and you're ahead on board with the Werebear, and you have so many lands back.
Right.
This might be a follow up Cabal Therapy to name
Well,
Sylvan Library.
therapy.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems good.
No green mana for Tweety yet.
Yeah, so if he were to top deck Armageddon, I don't know. He wouldn't have Threshold. I don't know if that would be.
He's good. I wonder if he could play the Seal of Cleansing and then sacrifice it targeting itself if he really needed to build Threshold, if he doesn't think it's going to matter. On the other hand, Tweedy's threatening third black land Armageddon this turn. Or, I'm sorry, not Armageddon, Necropotence.
Yeah, I wonder to what degree they know what each other are playing. It's like, Werebear is actually a really good... Like, if you know, you might think that Steve was on Survival with just a Forest. Like I would maybe blind name Survival if my opponent just played Forest Go, but Werebear means you're pretty clearly on Terrageddon, I think. But
by round 6, I think, there's your third black land. Werebear 1 and a green for a 1/1 that has add black to your mana pool. Or, I'm sorry, add green to your mana pool, and with Threshold it gets +3/+3. Sorry, Laura, you can't see the chat. I gotta figure. That's the next thing I gotta crack. How to get the chat to the other commentator.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So Steve's gonna pop the Necro, which is not. I mean, I don't know what else you do with the Seal of Cleansing, but it's not great because Brian gets to get as many cards as he wants. He doesn't get a second chance to use it though, which is something. So he basically only gets, one time where he can draw 8 cards.
Well, he's also putting himself down a considerable amount.
Yeah.
And again, like, he doesn't have anything. He's going to get wastelanded off green, at least, right?
Right.
So he's not going to have double green next turn, even though he's going to have a zillion cards in hand. And Armageddon would be pretty
Yeah, for sure.
And
Armageddon looks really good right here.
I think land Armageddon would... Well, he doesn't need to do that. But he could. Also, he played the Riftstone Portal with probably with the plan of killing it to his own Armageddon.
That's the land that gives you a green and white if it's in the graveyard.
Yep.
Or it gives all your lands.
All your lands count green and white. Yep.
That's sweet. That's such an odd ability. I love that. That's a very unique effect.
I think it's cool. I really like Riftstone Portal. It's like a fun card, and like it's one of those cards that's very subtle that you don't always realize how good it is.
Right.
But it's basically a color fixer, and he can afford to play a lot of these special lands because he can always dump that to the graveyard through Armageddon or through Mox Diamond.
That's sweet. I like that a lot, discarding Riftstone Portal to Mox Diamond.
Looks like Tweedy has cleared out all of his Cabal therapies in a duress, so he's not... He didn't discard a creature.
Oh, I thought he said Symbiotic Worm. But yeah, I don't see it in the stack.
It looks pretty dark, but I actually do see it. It's actually under the top 2 Cabal therapies. I thought those were all...
Oh, I see. Yeah, that looks like a black card to me.
So... I think we're... There we go. Yep, Tweedy's back. He has been wastelanded. The rough thing here is that he's probably going to get that Symbiotic Worm right back.
Yeah, actually, so another downside of killing Necro is not only do you not stop the card draw, but you actually make discarding cards to end of turn live with that.
Another discard outlet for the Riftstone Portal, by the way. The thing that Steve has, he does have Swords to Plowshares.
Yes.
And so that would put Tweedy in a sort of interesting position of immediately flashing back a Cabal Therapy with the Symbiotic Worm, which I probably would do.
I would do it too, yeah. I think you have to, because you just don't want to get blown out. I mean, maybe you have another Necro in hand, and gaining 7 life isn't that bad, but...
Well, it doesn't look like he had the Exhume there.
No, just land go. That's really interesting.
And not a great land in this situation either. Can't activate that Treetop Village. Can't play green on this turn.
He could have Smother Up, though, so if Steve goes all in on the Wild Mongrel, I don't know how many... He might have... No, if he only has 3 cards in hand, I don't think he has Lethal. If he had 4, he could have Threshold and up the Monk.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting point. I think that you just want to play around that, right? Because his life total's already so low.
Yeah.
You want to force him to use stuff on his... you want to force him to do stuff. There, he's gonna hit that.
Ugh, nasty, man. Those wastelands are so good.
It's true, but at this point, it's get the symbiotic orb into play or not for Brian.
Or bust,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, he's not really like trying to resolve. There's a smother. And what do you go after here? Probably the werebear. The wild mongrel's not as big a threat. Oh, he chose the wild mongrel. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess the werebear isn't online yet, so maybe he's prioritizing the thing that could deal him the most damage. But it's very close. Or maybe he's hoping to get Steve to discard a couple cards, and he has another smother in hand.
Well, he's already taken the damage for the turn, as far as I can tell. This looks like Steve's end of turn.
End of turn, yeah. So he's setting up next turn. But like let's say he kills the mongrel and then Steve decides to go for the 2 discard. He can kind of get him with a second smother.
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
so
power is it power 3 or less, or is converted mana cost 3 or less?
Converted mana cost 3 or
okay.
less.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so now if he has another smother here, it's pretty good. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, so now
I see what you're saying.
Werebear's
You're right.
a 4/4.
I'm sorry. You made him decide to actually make the werebear big. I see what you're saying. Got it. I thought you were saying that somehow changing the color, giving it +1/+1 was going to save the wild mongrel.
Oh no,
no,
yeah.
But there's like a zillion cards in this game. I don't know which ones do what. A second smother here would be pretty brutal.
Yeah,
see if
for
it's
sure.
there.
See if he has it.
That's why you got to play red Armageddon. You get your Burning Wish for your Armageddon and Bolt.
Yep, so he did have the second smother, alright, so knocked Steve down 2 lands, which I'm not sure. Yeah. Interesting game. Tweety,
Yeah.
I think, actually looks like he's in a really good position, but he needs to draw some kind of reanimation effect. Was it Exhume as his main one?
I believe so, which would actually give him a... Well, he could not reanimate the symbiotic orb at this point anyway.
No. Yeah, he does. He runs 3 Exhume and a recurring Nightmare. Yeah, he must have kind of whiffed on his Necro for 8.
Well, I mean, 5 of the cards were Cabal Therapy, Duress, Symbiotic Worm.
Yeah.
Or he discarded 4 cards, so yeah. On the other hand, he did get to make a... Oh, he made a Call the Herd.
Yep.
That's what that is. A little
So
behind. Just checking my computer's temperature here.
Is it creeping up?
Yeah. Trying to get the league to buy me a better streaming rig. But so we're going in for 3. You take that, 17. How about both players having life counters? That's really helpful.
That is.
In fact, let's make sure that our next match has a life counter.
So Steve's best draw here is probably, what, just another werebear? No. Alright, so not looking good for Steve here.
What just happened? Oh, recurring nightmare.
Yeah,
I was like,
Tweety found recurring nightmare.
If he casts Exhume, then yeah. But nope, that's really bad. Well, not really, because like I guess he should. What he's got to do. See, I would have just flashed it back there.
I agree.
I think you just win. Oh, he's just gonna scoop to it, because he can block that with Mom forever. Interesting choice. I wouldn't have quite scooped there. I would have said like, make him attack. If he had drawn Swords to Plowshare, well, yeah, I guess his feeling is like he can't beat.
I think you play it out until he Cabal Therapies.
Yeah.
Well, no, because if he didn't, okay, so I think what Steve's thinking is he needed a Source of Plowshares right there because um, Brian had the recurring nightmare in hand.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah. So
Al-
he was pretty hosed.
Although, was Symbiotic Worm the literal only card in his graveyard?
Um,
I think it was. So I don't know. Yeah, it definitely wasn't a good spot
well, no, he
for
needed it there because what
Steve.
happens is Brian goes to his turn. He sacrifices the symbiotic worm to the Cabal therapy. Nothing, he names whatever. Um, then the symbiotic worm's in his graveyard. He's got 7 creatures in play. Then he plays the recurring nightmare, and then he just loops it back into play.
Yeah, I think the smarter move though was Cabal Therapy on his turn, so he can attack with the 7/1/1s on his next turn.
Yeah. Well, also he attack with the 7/1/1s, then bring the symbiotic worm back,
Exactly, yeah. So
which
he
was.
gets both values. Whereas otherwise, Steve can chump block for a turn with Mom.
I'd have to check. I'd have to check the list again to see if there was something I missed that could have cleaned that up in a sort of blowouty way. Let's see. He doesn't have like a wrath that I saw, or like a balancing act.
Steve, no, he doesn't have anything like that in his list.
He has
He gets
parallax wave in the next
out of the board, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I can't see what that card. I see a warmth. That's pretty good. Mystic Enforcer. Now that's what you want.
Pro Black, yeah.
That's a
I
pro
wonder,
back 6/6 flyer in the right situation.
right. I wonder if he brings in um, Ray of Revelation or Disenchant Naturalize. He plays one of each of those. You probably bring in the Tormod's Crypt. Maybe even the comp. He plays one of Compost.
Yep, Compost is pretty good. That'll help him keep up. Now, Compost does kind of suck with Necro in play because anything that Tweedy discards gets exiled. But, you can't win them all. Trying to think what he takes out here. What's not great? Maybe Weathered Wayfarer isn't super.
Yeah, it's maybe a little slow.
He's
Mom,
got main board enchantment hate. That's a thing. Like it's kind of his deck looks pretty good. He could just trim down. He could make Brian fear the Armageddon and just take them all out.
I guess Mom is still pretty good here.
I think you have to play. I think you have to keep Mom in. Like you've got all your creatures. Like
Yeah, even though Pernicious Deed is such a blowout, I think it's just a difficult card, I think, for Terrageddon to beat unless you sweep their mana.
exactly. So that's why. Yeah, of course he wants to keep Armageddon for that. He wants to keep his enchantment kill in for the Necro. Maybe he could take up. He's on the play. I don't know if I'd take out the Mox Diamond package. There's random stuff he could take out, like Sungrass Prairie and like Dust Bowl or something.
He's on like 26 lands. The Wastelands looked very good there, though.
Wasteland is really feast or famine in this format because so many decks play a ton of basics, but any deck that has a non-basic in play is probably going to be screwed if you, like actually Wasteland it.
Right? Yeah, it seems like most decks are almost entirely basic or almost entirely non-basic.
Non-basic, yeah.
Yeah.
But a deck with a lot of non-basics, like we'll see in round 2, is just gonna win on turn. Is also gonna try and win on turn 2. So
That matchup's going to be very funny. I have no idea what's going to happen. I think it's just whoever gets the nut draw and or more disruption.
yeah. Did you finish your league yet?
No, I was planning on playing at 8, but my opponent was nice enough to move it back to 9 so I could commentate tonight.
Good,
So
yeah.
I'll be finishing mine up. I'm 4-1. So
Oh, really? I finished 4-2. I was wondering what your record was. I was very proud of myself, though. I was very happy.
And you don't think you'll get there there's any chance you can get there on tiebreakers?
That actually depends on how Andrew does. 'Cause Andrew beat me, so if I get Andrew, I think if Andrew wins, maybe that helps. That helps me a little bit. I'd be 4-2 with someone who's X-1.
Yeah, my loss was to someone who ended up 4-2, so that's not a great feeling. I'm concerned about my tiebreakers, so I think I need to win
I
this
think
one.
you're pretty sure to be in at 5-1 though. So
Yeah,
let's
oh,
check
for
the
sure, for
let's
sure,
check
yeah.
SwissTriangle.net, which I have no idea how it works. How any of this stuff works, but let's say I got 40 players. There will be 4 players at 5-1. So yes, you will. The 5-1 will get in, and this is our match for 6-0. And of course, no draws.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, obviously, in some circumstances, it can benefit you to draw, but
Yeah.
it's that's like it's a different mentality to have an intentional draw format versus no, this is Magic. You're supposed to be playing, so just play the games.
One of my friends has been playing Old Frame, which is like old school plus middle school mixed together. It's like popular, I guess, in like Spain. So he somehow got caught up with them and has been playing Old Frame. He loves it, but he's like, someone wanted to ID, and I'm like, he goes, this tournament was free. I'm not IDing. Like I took the time out to schedule this match.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same, but I played like a vintage format that's basically through Onslaught block, so it's like all old border cards.
Yeah.
It's pretty felt pretty degenerate because there were some odd cards that were not banned.
Well, the thing about any of these formats is you do a lot of the curation with the ban list, right?
Right.
Like even old school is not it's not exactly what things were in 93, 94 because like rando shit was banned. Like in 1994, like Ankh Mishra, like just random stuff was banned.
Right. Black Vice, I think, was restricted as well.
Yeah, exactly. Good start for Steve.
Yep.
I love this for him. Brian
probably as a turn 1 discard spell, or maybe as Entomb.
Yeah, that's the thing that would suck for Steve if Brian just like wins on turn 2. But he also has a basic planes, which means he can have Sword of Plowshares.
Yeah, so the earliest that Brian can go off is turn 2 because he doesn't have anything like Lotus Petal to ramp out at turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
So he just passes.
This does look like an Entomb, though, right? It smells
Yeah.
like Entomb. See what Steve goes for here.
Would you attack with Mom this turn, or is it purely a defensive card in your mind?
That's a compost. I don't think I'm attacking with Mom. Like, I guess you could, because then either way it just duresses the removal spell. Brian has Entomb. You got to fire this off with that on the stack.
Oh, you know what? Compost gets around Necro because they're both triggered abilities. So Necro is not a replacement effect.
Not a replacement effect. Good point. Good catch. Yeah. So he
so
is going to draw.
Yeah, draw a bunch of cards. So even like if he casts a Cabal Therapy, Steve gets to draw a card. Yep, so he entombs in response to the compost.
Set foil Entomb, of course. Foils are for magpies, but Brian loves them.
You think Tweety brought in the Oath package for Oath of Druids?
Well, that's the thing. The thing about the Oath package is that you kind of always rationalize it. Or you often rationalize it because, like, your opponent's always playing to the board, or they're not. Wow, he's going for the Nether Spirit. Which... Oath is good against Gideon. Oh, yeah, wait, is Rob saying that in the chat that the thing just says, fuck black draw cards? Oath is good against Get In. Yeah, that's what Rob is saying. So, sorry, in the chat, Rob's just saying that Oath is good against Get In. So, possibly. But this is a discard spell. Now we're playing Remember Your Triggers.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get some really... I once played against a guy who tapped his fetch land, wrote down the life change, and then put it in the graveyard. Search. Tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice, search. Just like perfect magic. Let's see when Tweety moves to the graveyard, he draws it immediately. Then if he flashes it back with another spirit, that's going to get him another card. I don't think
another card, yeah. Yeah, Compost is pretty nuts here.
Ooh, wow, he got the Swords Plowshares though. And if he flashes it back.
Yep. All right, so Steve's.
Hopefully, Steve didn't draw the 3rd Werebear or a 2nd land tax. Draw a card. Draw a card. Draw a card. Yep.
Nice.
Can imagine drawing all 4 Werebears. A Seal of Cleansing and a Forest came off the top.
Huh.
Not great. That land tax is also a dead card. So basically his hand is not great.
Do you switch to the mom beatdown plan now? The 18-turn clock.
Ooh, but he keeps killing himself. That would be helpful for you.
Yeah.
Unless that's a Tainted Wood and not a Land of War Wastes.
Ooh, interesting. It's interesting he's playing his 3rd land.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of a way not to. Maybe you would attack with Mom here, but
It just opens you up to smother and makes you look foolish, if they have the smother.
I mean, that's kind of Mom's job, is to soak up at least 1 removal spell.
Right.
But you want them to be the proactive one and have to play into it. No land drop from Brian. Pass it back.
I wonder why Steve decided to play the 3rd land here.
His plan might just be to play a big creature. Is this
he brought in the
There
Bailout.
you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah, Brian missed his spirit trigger or chose not to do it. It's interesting. So now you've got a real clock here, right? There it goes, comes back.
Let's see now. Yeah, now he.
But now is he gonna chump block every turn? Yeah, I'd say giving protection from black and swing in.
Exactly, and Ravenous Bailout will not die to smother. So that's a decent clock.
This Compost is really messing with Brian's head, I think.
I know he can't really play much of anything. I mean,
I don't think I would
imagine duressing your opponent and then they draw a creature off of that.
Yeah. So the last card here is dead, right? The last card is the land tax anyway.
Mm.
So Tweety's he's got to be settling in for Long Winter's Night here, because if I'm Steve, I'm never tapping this Mom. I'm going to make him decide to block it every turn, because I'm going to draw every card in my deck if he does that.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And you're kind of behind on cards right now because you've made a bunch of land drops. Look how much does Tweety have. This is the Flood Beats Screw question, or Screw Beats Flood question. The second Tweety draws a 3rd land, he's off to the races. Note also that holding up the Seal of Cleansing means that Tweety can't deploy a Pernicious Deed.
True. Yeah, he would also have to have the mana to pay the X as well.
And there's a Sylvan Library.
Ooh.
Very close. We're very close to Bibliotecate here, I think. too, because like why not? You need cards. There's a land tax. I don't really. I kind of would just hold the land tax unless he thinks he's gonna find an Armageddon. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it's probably just better. You just look for the Armageddon off the. Yeah, right, right, Woodrow. There's a lot of value in play. Oh, he's entombing. Sorry if you guys saw that and I didn't. I just didn't. It didn't. I got held up a second here. Let's close more stuff on my computer.
I wonder what he entombs for here. See if Steve remembers to draw the card off Entomb.
Did he forget? I was checking on.
Yeah,
something.
he forgot. Tweety, he did the old. Is it my turn now? So it didn't. A little bit of a Jedi mind trick, I think.
Got an Exhume on a Verdant Force. It's pretty good.
Yep. So Steve gets back the Werebear. So remembers it from the Exhume. So now if Steve wants to get through, he can give Ravenous Bailout protection from green. But that leaves him weak to the Crackback.
Yeah, I mean, you need to find a Swords to Plowshares nowish.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a decent chance with Sylvan.
He's gonna look 3 deep.
If Lantex was online, he'd get a lot of picks. That's like, yeah, it's the one issue with Terrageddon is there's a lot of cards that you want to add. Like Zuran Orb is a good way to activate land tax, but then that takes up a slot of a creature that can kill your opponent or a Source of Plowshares.
Kept 2.
Taking an extra card, yeah.
Yep. There's a Windswept Heath, sort of indicating that it's the third card down definitely wasn't it. So either this is the Swords of Plowshares in his hand or it's something else. I can't. I wonder what it could possibly be. I feel like it had to be Swords of Plowshares fetch land that he kept.
Yeah, for him to take 2.
Yeah, because I don't. What other card would you take in this situation?
Maybe Armageddon, just hoping for a hoping to draw swords next turn.
Hoping to draw swords to land, but you're going to be at. This looks like maybe you're right.
Oh,
Parallax Wave. Okay.
That's
I forgot
great.
About that. Let's check. Let's just get some numbers on Parallax Wave.
Yeah, so comes in with 5 counters or 4 counters.
Comes in with 5. Is now down to 2. He's exiled everything. He's going to come across for looks like 5. And you don't remove that. You don't remove that last counter until you don't sacrifice it. I should say until that last counter comes off. So I think this wins a race because like it goes to 0 and stays in play, right?
Right, right. I think it's when you cannot remove a counter that you sacrifice it. Yeah, so he's got basically 2 turns of attacking before it pops.
Parallax Wave is on the list.
Yeah, and Pernicious Deed is pretty bad here. So Deed, I think, is basically the only way that he could get rid of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Tweety's gonna scoop him up. Even then, I don't think a Deed wouldn't have done anything there.
yeah, that's
Deed
what I'm
would have,
saying.
yeah, Deed would have traded for land tax and mom, and then given him a card. So, like, that's assuming he had land Deed, which he probably didn't. Pretty sweet, Parallax Wave. What a cool card.
For sure. So Steve, kind of fortunate there, drawing both of his one-ofs. I think are 2 of the best cards in the matchup. Parallax Wave is basically like a, 3 or 4 Swords to Plowshares at 1 card.
How on earth has Parallax Wave never been played with Containment Priest in Legacy? I'm gonna try that.
It also, I mean, he had the. Did he have a Seal of Cleansing out?
He did have a Seal of Cleansing out.
So he had the combo if he wanted to go for it, which is like, remove the counters on Parallax Wave, in response, pop it with the seal, and then the creatures never come back.
Yeah, I'm writing that down for the next league. It seems sweet.
But yeah, that probably would have been too greedy, because you probably just keep the seal for the Pernicious Deed, because there's really no way for Brian to get out of it otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like, the Deed didn't really scare you, like, at that point, like, just because he would have needed land Deed to do anything, and the Seal of Cleansing would have just killed it.
Yeah, exactly. He would have, like, he could have blown up the board with, like, Deed, pass, play another land, destroy everything, but right, the Seal of Cleansing made that moot. Yeah, Steve kind of had it all in that game.
It really goes to show you what makes this format and these formats sort of really great, is that the decks are pretty good, but they're not, like, just so well oiled that you always get what you want, and sometimes you have a start like Tweety had there, which was, not great. You don't really want 2 pain lands that are non-basic in this matchup as your only 2 land drops on the draw.
Yeah, his mana base is a little greedy. I mean, it kind of has to be if you want to play a second color in Necro. And, like, it's, Necro's a really powerful card, but that's sometimes what happens is you just get, have a mulligan or whatever, go to 6, go to 5, and you still end up with a bad set of cards.
So next up, we have Hermit Druid combo. Do you know what the other deck is?
Full English Breakfast.
Full English Breakfast, that was it. Okay, yeah. What a match that's going to be. Just a couple of guys playing totally fair cards that cost 1 in the green.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I honestly haven't seen much of either of those decks in middle school so far.
Well, Survival's kind of a choke point card, right? And I just think a lot of people don't know about Hermit Druid.
Yeah.
It's been banned for so long in Legacy and didn't really do anything back in the day. So now, granted, we don't have any of those, any choke point restrictions here. This is a proxy tournament. I proxied the card Chatter the Squirrel. And,
that's a flashback scroll card?
Yeah, right? I just forgot to order them. I was like, shit. So I actually pulled one in a double mask. I sometimes when I go to Target and buy stuff, I just will grab a random pack. And I grabbed like a double Masters pack, and there was a Shadow Squirrel in there, so I stickered the old border version over it. Figured that would be more with the aesthetic.
Yeah, good enough.
All right, we go to Tweety on the play. And hopefully they'll remember to reset their life counters in just a second.
Oh, so Steve has actually had a loss, I think. So he would be X2 after this, but considering Brian is undefeated, I think. Wait, how is that possible?
I'm checking actually. Now you mentioned it.
That's what Steve said.
Yeah, Brian's the only undefeated player. It looks like. Oh, I think we had a person drop. That's how. So, I guess that threw it down to 39 players, which may have. Let's check Swiss Triangle again.
Or yeah, maybe after 5 rounds, there's only one undefeated.
Calculate. Oh, I forgot to click that. Jeez. Yes. Where's the round count? It says there's supposed to be 2 players at 5-0. I don't know how that's possible, honestly.
Huh.
Unless the person that Steve lost to had to drop for some reason besides like not wanting to play.
All right, so I think Tweety is good on 7. Steve's going to 6 here. All right, so Steve keeps on 6 and immediately gets duressed.
For
Ray of Revelation.
Ray of Revelation.
That's a great
Jeez,
card.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that in his deck list. So that's basically. Wow, what a hand! So I guess you're gonna go mom here. If he has a therapy, he's gonna hit probably Werebear. You just have 2 moms, and that's just gonna maybe you send one of them at that point in. I wonder what he put on the bottom. Jeez.
Yeah, maybe a land. Maybe he thought, can cast everything in his hand for 2 mana, so.
Yeah. I wonder if he put another. I'm just thinking like maybe he put another non-creature spell on the bottom. It's like if I get duressed on turn 1, he's gonna get this.
That would be smart for sure.
Comes a therapy, and he's gonna name Werebear.
Yeah, grabs the Werebear.
And the last card is a Terravore. Oh man, you really wanted that. Well, on the other hand, that Terravore is a 0/0, right?
Oh, yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's bad. So he doesn't even get the +1 to. Nope. Yeah, it's a 0/0. So things looking pretty good for Tweety here, so long as he has anything to reanimate or even a Necro. Steve really doesn't have a clock at this point.
Tweety should have 5 cards in hand. To answer your question, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, now I think you start sending Mom. If he does it, depending on what he does here. Just going to take the other...
Another Cabal Therapy.
He's going to take the other Mom.
Interesting. So not... Yeah, Terravore is still 2 turns away.
Yeah, what Steve wants to draw here is a Windswept Teeth.
Yes, that would be perfect.
It's like the only thing you get your Werebear in play with. And
I think it's hard to send Mom in because this deck doesn't really seem like a chip damage deck, like a aggressive red deck. Like you either win handily with the Terravor or Ravenous Baloth, or a 4/4 Werebear, or you don't. I think it's probably maybe with a Necro deck, it's more relevant.
That's what I was thinking. Like if you're just like,
but I guess take them off cards. Yeah.
Every point of damage is another card. He's got a pain land in play too. He's got 2 pain lands in play. Coming back, draw a card.
Did he get the Windswept Heath? Nut draw. Ah,
Werebear.
Yeah, Werebear. So Tweety didn't have the Necro.
Now the card he wants is Wasteland. That'll clean up this board pretty nicely for the Terravor. What's up, Chris? How's it going? Chris Benucci of 90s MTG showing up and cheering on the Werebear. Gonna get a Swords to Plowshares to Rest.
Man. Damn. That was pretty good, considering he only had 1 unknown card. But Tweety really doesn't have much action. He hasn't entombed anything, hasn't played Necro. Probably just has reactive cards, other reactive cards in his hand. Maybe has a Smother that's dead right now. Oh, land tax is very good
Yeah,
here. Wow.
That's sick. He's also holding up that Ray Revelation.
Yeah, that's a good point too. But if Tweety had land Pernicious Deed, I mean, he could clear the board.
Brian's foil lands are... There's 1 Tainted Field, and I think there's 2 Llanowar Wastes. Two Tainted, 1 Waste? Is that how it is? I think it's the other way around. Yeah. Well, unless it's stacking them weird. What do we got? An Oath of Druids.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's see if Steve...
Here's the thing. Like... I guess you gotta kill this with the...
Yeah, I think you have to.
It does kind of... It's gonna fill his graveyard with lands for your Terravor, but yeah, I guess you're right.
And again, I think even if Tweety Necros, I feel like as a Necro player, you almost want them to pop Necro after you've drawn 7, because then you get your draw step back, and you've probably, drawn into something degenerate anyway. So I think Oath was probably easily the best target in Tweety's deck for that Rave Revelation.
Yeah, it does suck to... especially in this situation, if he had played a Necro. I don't know about that, though. I think in this situation, if he had... was the Oath bait for Necro is a question.
No way. I almost would go the other way. You Necro, you bait that out, and then you drop Oath.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly, because I think that the Necro is... You can just draw a zillion cards off of it. You're at 19. And then the Oath is going to win the game from there.
Right. Yeah, so Steve in a pretty good position, except he doesn't have much pressure. Unfortunately, he's pretty... so he's getting aggressive, attacking with both. He is far from discarding lands at his instep from land tax overfill.
Yeah.
So that's still... Yeah, I think he's still at least a turn away from discarding a land to hand size if he plays nothing next turn, which I don't know if that would make sense. He doesn't play anything. anything on his main phase, which means his hand is either all lands, or maybe he has something like Source of Plowshares or Naturalize. Just hard casts Hermit
Deranged
Druid.
Hermit.
Or Deranged Hermit, yeah, that's right.
And now he's going to just use it to...
Flashback Cabal Therapy. So if you have the swords, you probably just want to burn it on the Deranged Hermit because...
Yeah, not a great... Now Tweety's got to make that decision of, like, do you go after the land tax for the hell of it, which would give him another card close to threshold? Yeah, you don't want to do that. An Armageddon here would be pretty sick. That would turn off the Deranged Hermit's ability to echo.
And it would turn on Werebear as a 4/4.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nuts. I think if he doesn't have something like that, the squirrels may just take over the game here.
He's got a lot of interesting draws, like Brushhopper or Mongrel to fill his graveyard for Werebear.
Yeah, that's true. Mongrel's a pretty likely draw here. He's running 4 of them. Steve's thinking about something here, which is interesting. I think if you don't have anything else to do, you just play the second land tax, because that will basically just strip your deck of dead draws.
Good point, yeah, right? And put a bunch of cards in your hand.
Yep, and in the graveyard, yeah, right. So, but he doesn't do anything. So maybe he's trying to bait the Cabal. Maybe he's hoping that Tweety will waste a Cabal Therapy on land tax.
I think he wants to see if he pays for Hermit Druid or Deranged Hermit, and then he can swords it. Is that what I think he could do?
Okay, so yeah, so Tweety just attacked. He chump blocked one with the mom. So yeah, Tweety just paid for the Deranged Hermit.
I didn't see him draw a card. I know he started his turn.
Yeah, he did it fat. That's interesting. I didn't see it either, but I guess he just did it real quick.
Or yeah, sometimes the stream skips, but maybe he thought he had Obstinate Familiar in play. You ever seen an Obstinate Familiar?
I have not. No, let me look that up real quick.
Obstinate Familiar.
If you would draw a card
for a lizard, 1/1. If you would draw a card, you may skip that draw instead.
It's got to be useful sometime.
That's tech against Underworld Dreams. Against like Underworld Dreams combo.
Oh, that's very funny.
Interesting. You said, yeah. I think what he knew, what Steve knew that we didn't know is that he's out of gettable lands anyway. So the land tax is just valuable as a card in hand for, either pushing his hand above hand size to discard, or having Wild Mongrel.
Yeah, that makes more sense. So I guess Steve isn't actually on that many.
He's activated that land tax 3 times, and he's got 4 basics in play, so that's a pretty good. The last one got 2, so 2, 5, 8, 10. Yeah, it's a lot.
He's got 10. Yeah, he's got 10 basics in his list.
Unfortunately for Steve, he's just kind of stuck with this top deck situation, and a lot of his cards are irrelevant. For all we know, he's got a second land tax in hand now. Or actually, I think he might have only had 2 in his deck. So,
Yeah, he does have a lot of. I agree with you though. He has a lot of dead draws, and what he really wants is just like a fat creature, a wild mongrel or a. Well, no, he still can't deploy a Terravore here, even if he had one in hand. So he just fills up his graveyard with lands and passes.
looks like it's 6 cards, right? Not even 7 yet.
Yeah.
Brian's gonna serve for 6. Swords to Plowshares here is pretty good. Possibly
For
has
sure. Yeah, because that would turn on Threshold,
it. Yep,
which means
Yep.
yeah, oof, that'd be a blowout. But no, he just chomps and taps. So 4 damage a turn is a clock. It's not that.
He really just needs anything. Like
Yeah.
Steve needs any sort of action here. Armageddon's an interesting situation to be in here, though, because I guess you could block. You're gonna pick off one of those turns. You go to 8 and then 6. A duress. Well, my guess is he doesn't have anything duressable.
Yeah, well, except for a land tax.
A land tax,
yeah.
sure, but like a Mox.
Oh, and a
Diamond.
Mox Diamond, yeah. So
I would take you take the Mox Diamond here for sure, obviously, because that prevents him from having a sweet Armageddon turn. Obstinate Familiar was a rare in Odyssey.
oh my god,
Sometimes your rare would have been a 1/1 lizard that says you may skip a draw if you wanted to.
that's a slap in the face kind of rare.
We don't have those anymore. Because now we're all rares just, EDH generals. At
There's some
least,
bad
right?
ones.
I mean, there's bad rares, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like they're all just like, EDH cards, right?
Right. Yeah, so can you choose not to have them discard a non-creature, non-land with duress?
Let's see. I believe.
Because that actually turned on Steve's threshold. I think I value Steve not having threshold more than getting rid of Mox
Yeah,
Diamond.
I think you have to. I think you have to do it. I think you can't not do
Oh,
it.
you have to choose it.
I'm trying to think of how these things work. There's eligible targets, and everyone. It's perfect information. So this looks like a wild mongrel. Sylvan Library, even
Sylvan.
better. Yeah. He fills his graveyard by casting Mox Diamond next turn anyway. Yeah, true.
Oh, that's a good point.
Five lands versus 6. Tweety drew how many cards? Naturalize, Sylvan Library.
Ooh, yeah.
That's rough.
I think Tweety's pretty favored here. Drew a bunch of cards with Necro, got rid of Steve's main out. You kind of need something else though, because the squirrels are not enough now that Werebear has threshold. But I mean, if he drew a Smother, no, Smother doesn't work either.
Yeah, I think that it's a question of how heads up Steve is about that, right? Like, you definitely want to not block with Mom. You're going to take 4, but kill 1. You go to 8. You take 2 and kill 1 and go to 6. So you're still alive.
That seems fine to me. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get greedy there. Try to block 2 extra damage with Mom. It's interesting with the Necro Reanimator deck. You are off the play of Cabal therapying yourself to get something in the graveyard.
I think we're just seeing, in these games, like who got their thing that draws cards in play.
Right.
Huh.
That kind of smells like Recurring Nightmare to me.
I think you just take the extra 1.
You kill a squirrel and you let the Deranged Hermit through.
So you would take 5, you go to 7.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to get Steve to block the Deranged Hermit with the Mom and tap it.
Yeah,
and then he's going to smother in response.
The other thing you do is take 6.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's blocking.
I guess he goes 6 and 3, right?
But if Tweety has a Recurring Nightmare here, that's very, very bad.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know if he's playing around. 1 Recurring Nightmare.
Yeah, it's not very likely, I guess.
Yeah, damage. That there are still 2/2s when they die, or when the damage is dealt.
Yeah, there's no first strike involved. He takes the full 6 damage. They're trying to get confirmation from us right now. I'm not sure what the most efficient way to tell them is.
Let me just unmute or bring one in. All right, is there something going on? Uh-huh. You're going to take 6 because the damage is all dealt at the same time, and then the Hermit goes to the graveyard. Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Nice guy, Brian.
Yeah, there you go. So Brian thought that it was the other way around, actually. Which is unusual.
He had it. He had the Recurring Nightmare. Okay, yeah.
Well, that's it's interesting. That's kind of just a ball game here.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I agree with you. I think you eat a squirrel. Yeah. I don't know. It's easy being a commentator and not the actual person playing, but that's what it kind of smelled like. Like it smelled like he wanted Hermit or Deranged Hermit to die, and if he wanted it to die, then that probably meant he had Recurring Nightmare.
I mean, it's yeah. I don't know that I would have necessarily thought it was definitely Recurring Nightmare. I thought that there was a possibility that his plan was to block Hermit with Mom, block Werebear on one of the tokens. Then he can, when the Mom taps to give its self protection, he can smother the Werebear. Either way, I don't think you want to block Hermit in that situation. Well, actually, no. He played around this. He played around this other play.
No.
Yes.
Sorry. Steve was asking if it goes to the graveyard or exiled, and it does in fact go to the graveyard.
Yeah, because it's not a.
It's not being discarded.
Yep. Unfortunately, yeah. So that's a bit of an unfortunate. I don't think there's a lot of.
Parallax Wave would be fine. You can get rid of 5 squirrels permanently.
That's yeah, that's true. Definitely don't want to Parallax Wave with the Deranged Hermit, though. Definitely don't want to do that. When's someone going to Astral Slide a Deranged Hermit? That's got to happen in this league.
That seems fine.
So good, man. Just love it.
Yeah, I think the game is over and they're just kind of talking about it, but I think Tweety got this one.
Yep. He's gonna play it out. Yeah, he's scooping him up.
Yeah.
So Tweety finishes the league 6-0. Congratulations to him. And I'm gonna bring them in, and we're gonna go on a break, and we'll be right back with Andrew versus Hayden. Good games, guys. Thanks so much. All right, and everyone out there, we'll be back in just a minute. Lauren, you can take a break if you need to.
Great. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, we're back. Just trying to make sure that everyone's muted. Looks like they are. Looks good. So, we've got Andrew on Hermit Druid combo, Hayden on Full English Breakfast. And some very zoomed in cameras we've got too. We are live. So,
All right.
yeah. I didn't know if you knew. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. So, yeah, so Andrew is on Hermit Druid. I think he just took a mulligan, so he's on 6 now. That or he's just kind of behind in shuffling. Hayden's on Full English Breakfast. I think he's kept his 7.
Yeah, we've got some very nice looking cameras on this match. I wish we could get a little bit more of Hayden's field, but I kind of like that it's zoomed in. So I have to do this thing. Look at the cards.
Yeah, right.
So this one.
Yeah, lucky for me, I'm familiar with all of these decks and most of the cards that are played. So
Andrew's got these black bars we're just going to take off, so he's going to go zoomed in. Got a City of Brass. It is called Full English Breakfast because combo decks used to be named after breakfasts. That was how you named them.
and this one is kind of stuffed with, it's
Yeah.
got a little bit of sausage, got a little bit of beans, some toast, an egg.
Have you ever had a Full English Breakfast?
I think that beans on toast is an atrocity. So no, I've never had an actual legitimate Full English Breakfast for that reason.
We've got a Worldly Tutor for a Hermit Druid.
Hermit Druid. All right, so Andrew's off to the races. Turn 2 Hermit Druid.
So he's going to get the Hermit Druid on turn 2, and then we're going to see if, 1, it lives. I think it's likely to live. Yes, Cheerios. Cheerios might have been the first one, ironically enough, because that's the Enduring Renewal Goblin Bombardment Ornithopter combo, the Cheerio, of course, being the 0-cost Ornithopter. Andrew is at 19. I don't think Hayden's updated his life counter yet.
Yep. And he'll go to 18 from this
18
for the Hermit Druid. I like these the 1 mana top of your library tutors, just not as 4-ofs, but as 1 or 2-ofs, because they do get around
Hayden, life
discard
counter.
in the format.
It's okay, no problem. All right, he's got it. He's at 18. There you go. Okay. Sorry. Yes, I think the top deck tutors are cool, and Worldly Tutor is a card that, there's a lot of busted creatures, and they're instants, which is really interesting. Dubs and Dubs recommends the Full English in Austin as a place to get this item, which I would love to do. And there was a place when I lived in Brooklyn that was like an English pub where I would go to get like fish and chips. I never got to go on breakfast day, or I never got to get breakfast there. We've got a Duress. The Duress is gonna.
It's just very nice.
Take
a
a
Get that reanimate.
Oh boy.
So knocks Andrew off the turn 3 win.
Looks like Hayden doesn't have a second land. Looks like he kept, which I think is smart. He kept the Birds of Paradise, which fixes all his mana, and then he's got a second Birds, and Andrew's not going to pressure his mana base. However, he's going to fire back one of these Duresses on this turn after a survival.
Right, and I'm sure that's what Hayden would have liked to have done if he has a survival, draw a second land, play survival.
Volrath Shapeshifter, Cabal Therapy, Survival the Fittest, Mesmeric Fiend, Withered Wretch. Well, it's between therapy and yeah, just take that.
Yeah, right. So this is an interesting game. So they both have lots of disruption in their lists, and they both have effectively disrupted their the other's win condition. I think Andrew's in better shape because he needs just a reanimator spell, whereas Hayden needs survival and time to get it going.
He was in really good shape on the next turn, though. If he had gotten that survival down.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if he would have top decked a land, he would have gone duress, survival, and that probably would have been game. But now I think it's gonna go a few turns. I mean, unless Andrew just top decks a reanimation spell in the next couple turns.
Take a look at Andrew's deck and see how many of these he has.
A lot. He's playing 10 reanimation spells plus 2 mystical tutor.
Well, if he has a mystical tutor here, that's brutal. Like if that's the card he drew.
Yeah. I don't know if he has a third land, so he may not be able to Hermit Druid and Exhume all in the same turn, so that could be a choke point.
Well, he hasn't let Hayden go yet. Well, he's doing it.
Wait.
Is he trying to hit Hayden? No, that doesn't work. Maybe he's trying to hit a land. No, that doesn't work for him either.
That doesn't work either. He must have land reanimate in his hand.
I think we know he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. This is happening. Oh, he has a Crows and Reclamation.
I see.
That's
okay,
really
yeah,
that's cool tech.
So he gets to pick the.
Yeah, right. So he Crows and Recs on his hand, or on his upkeep.
But that's not going to work. The Withered Wretch is going to exile the Croson Reclamation. So he's going to have to use Cabal Therapy. He's going to Cabal Therapy the Withered Wretch. What a line. Wow. Wow. I did not see that at all. Huh. And he doesn't have to play into this Cabal Therapy on his next turn. He can pass. Yeah, this is insane. So here's what happens. Hayden cannot trick him. Like, I don't think he can. Because I think that he can just wait till his...
Yeah, Crows and Reclamation, target player shuffles two target cards from their graveyard onto the top of their library.
So he's going to put 2 reanimates in during his upkeep. He's going to draw 1. Then Hayden's going to try and hit it with Hand Disruption, and then he's going to draw the second one and win.
Yep.
Wow. Are they just explaining it?
Yeah. Well, so Hayden doesn't know what Crows and Reclamation is, so he doesn't really understand what's going to happen. So I think he kind of wants to. Maybe he's trying to figure out what he needs to do to either disrupt it or win. What he really needs is a Swords to Plowshares, but he does not have that in his list.
Does not have that. If he drew a land, he could play the Volrath Shapeshifter as a Withered Wretch, but he didn't. That's too bad.
That is too... Yeah, that's... Yeah, so Hayden's also confused about the... Andrew has 1 unknown card in his hand. So yeah, I mean, maybe just playing the Shapeshifter as the Withered Wretch is the play.
Oh, no, he should do it anyway, because Andrew won't get a chance to reanimate with the Withered Wretch. He'll get to untap before Andrew can reanimate. Unless Andrew's sandbagging a land.
Unless he has a land, yeah, right. And then he would have enough to Crows and Reclamation on his upkeep, play the land, and reanimate. Yeah, Andrew. So they're just discussing it, and Andrew is saying that if Hayden would have drawn a land, he would have lost on the spot because of the Withered Wretch, because of Volrash Shapeshifter turning into the Withered Wretch. So I think Andrew has this locked up, but they're just kind of
I don't
talking
think he
about it.
does. I don't think he does. I think if Hayden played the shapeshifter and passed, he's unless Andrew has a
Oh yeah,
land in
you're right.
hand. Yeah, like he just
You're right.
yeah. What's this? Mesmeric
Nope.
Fiend.
Nope. That's
Well,
not the...
maybe he's like, I'm gonna look at your hand, and it's a Dragon Breath.
Which is actually really bad for...
Does he have two of them?
Ooh, you did not want to... Oh, no. Okay, it's
These are
removed.
good.
That's right. Mesmeric Fiend. Yeah, he does not have a second Dragon's Breath.
He doesn't have a first one either because that's an old border one, so or a new border one.
A new border card.
Um,
Okay, so that's an interesting line that did work.
I don't think he had any choice.
So what can he do here?
The fact that he had the Dragon Breath in his hand is... It's going for Exhume, which I don't get.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
But if he draws the Exhume, he loses. I don't understand why he wouldn't just draw the Reanimates. Pick which card goes on top. Choose the form of the Destructor. Oh, they're gonna do it randomly?
Yeah, because it's shuffle. You shuffle the two cards into your library.
Yeah, but Hayden doesn't know which one's which.
That's true, yeah.
Wait, we never decided which was which. Okay. Andrew draws. Oh, I see why. Well, either way, I think he loses. Unless he has another Croson Reclamation. I only see one in his deck, though.
No, he only has one.
Yeah, I don't think that he can win here without the Dragon Breath. Especially now that he's drawn the Exhume. Because that's going to
Right.
Ball Therapy into the Stone Age. And now
Yeah,
the matches up.
I think you were right about the two reanimate the Sutured Ghoul with Dragon's Breath. If he didn't have that in his hand, but it was probably the worst draw that he possibly could have had.
I'm exhausted watching that. That's like
I know. I think they've spent more time talking about the game than actually playing the game.
I think they realize it.
Yeah. So now Hayden just wants some extra information
Yep.
before they go to sideboard.
I'm just looking up what edition that Dragon Breath is. Looks like it's in Battle Bond.
Battle Bond. Sweet.
That's definitely a Battle Bond one. I don't think it's Arch Enemy.
So what do you think about the sideboard here? The sideboard plans. Andrew has a set of crumbles, which I was trying to figure out whether he brings those in to counter Tormod's Crypt and Phyrexian Furnace. It seems a little edge case, but maybe because your deck is so dependent upon Graveyard, you're just kind of forced into playing that kind of defensive game.
Yeah.
Andrew also...
Well,
yeah.
he's going to be on the play, so maybe you don't bother. You know? You just keep the fastest possible hand.
Yeah, he can't, well, let's see. So he can go Entomb Reanimate.
Oh, he could go Entomb Reanimate.
Yeah, that would be fine.
He has 4 Lotus Petals. He could go Entomb Reanimate on, like, what?
A Chroma.
Oh, yeah, Chroma. That's pretty good. Or on Hermit Druid. The Hermit has resolved. I don't think there's a way. I think that Hayden is asking what's in his graveyard.
Yeah, they're finishing up. I think Andrew has come to the conclusion that he cannot win.
So the turn he drew the Dragon Breath was the turn he activated the Hermit Druid. And he had to use the Cabal Therapy. And I'm wondering here if there was a better line.
Yeah, I think Andrew was saying he kind of panicked about the Withered Wretch, and basically, if it resolved, that he would lose.
And I don't see a way in his deck to defeat a Withered Wretch. What's his card with like the?
No, I was thinking about that too. So even post board, he basically has, like his one out is Gilded Drake.
Yeah.
So he can Gilded Drake the Withered Wretch and then try to go off.
That'll be. Imagine turning on the stream if there's a Gilded Drake.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell's going on? That guy attacking himself? Crumble. So let's see. Let's go look at. I think Andrew commentated with Hayden, unless at some point, so he might actually know Hayden's deck, or commentated like the tournament. So he's got 3 Tormod's Crypt in the sideboard.
Yep. 2 Duress, which seem fine.
Yep.
He's already playing 4 Cabal Therapy, 1 Duress, and 4 Mesmeric Fiends, so... Propaganda would be a very funny card to bring in. I don't think it's good enough, but it could, it could stop a Sutured Ghoul for
definitely
a couple
will.
turns.
I mean, for sure. No, you only need a couple turns. There's no library.
Yep. I really like the One of Crows and Reclamation in Andrew's list to kind of bring you back from the brink. And you can stack your deck right with like 2 reanimation spells or whatever. That's cool tech. Yeah, actually that's a way to basically tutor for a reanimate. You just empty your library on your upkeep, put 2 reanimates on top, and then draw 1 and win.
I think the card I want the most in my opening hand if I'm Andrew is Lotus Petal. I just want to get this over with.
Yeah.
Hayden's gonna have 6 pieces of acceleration, and if he untaps with the survival, it's really, really tough.
Yeah, and Andrew's Disruption, I mean, his hand Disruption is fine, but like he has 2 Coffin Purge, which I usually am a big fan of that card. But for example, if Hayden just goes for the Triskelion Phyrexian Devourer combo, Andrew cannot interact with that with any piece of removal. Like, can't interact with it with a Tormod's Crypt or with a Coffin Purge.
It does seem to be the best play.
I think so. I mean, you have to have both. You have to set it up to already have both pieces in your hand. Like, you can't discard the Devourer for the Triskelion if you want the 0 interaction plan. But if they're both in hand, then you basically just win the game so long as you have 2 green mana open for survival. So I think Hayden's sideboard is probably a little better than Andrew's, but Andrew does get a 1 of Ray of Revelation that he can get with Mystical Tutor.
I just looking up Fate to see if there was a way to win by having your Volrath Shapeshifter be a Devourer, put a counter on it, then have it be a Triskelion, ping your opponent, and then search up a Fate. But it's combat damage.
Combat damage, yeah. That would be very cute, though, if you could do that.
That'd be pretty sweet. Into that.
Yeah, I don't know that much about all of the different ways that you can win and the weird situations that you can get in with Full English Breakfast, but I feel like Devourer or Triskelion is just always better than the Phage plan.
Who won the first match? Brian Tweedy won the first match, 2-1. Or do you mean who won the first game here? It would be Hayden. I do actually have that. Yeah. What a game that was. It played entirely in your brain.
Yeah.
Once the deck flipped over, just like each player, and they had perfect information, right? Everyone had perfect information. You know, like isn't
Yeah.
that something? Everyone knows what's in everyone's hand.
Yeah, Withered Wretch was a bad beat for Andrew. It's just kind of unlucky that Hayden had it in his hand.
The dragon breath in his hand, like
That was
oh
I
my
know that was
god!
insane.
I'm just thinking, like, what did he? I gotta look at his deck list again.
Like you got to think about the likelihood of both things happening, like of Hayden having Withered Wretch in his opener and Andrew drawing Dragon Breath on that
On
last
that
turn.
turn, when he was like, and he had the win. If he didn't, I'm just thinking if he could have like.
He could have maybe he could have like reanimated something else.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I don't actually think he could have won in a timely manner. I guess if
Or-
he like, I don't think he could beat the very specific mix of things that were in Hayden's hand. Because I was thinking, what if he
No.
brought back a symbiotic worm, and then therapied himself for Dragon's Breath, and then therapied everything out of Hayden's hand, and then on the next turn I think it would have worked but I don't think he would have had enough time. He also might not have had enough life to both reanimate Sutured Ghoul and Symbiotic Worm.
Right.
And it would have been he could have put a reanimate and an exhume in his deck, and hoped to draw the reanimate first, and then the exhume second. I think that's the plan.
No, but he only had one. He only had the City of Brass. Because
By that point, he only had the City of Brass. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that doesn't work. That's theoretic. It theoretically works, but it doesn't work in practice.
Yeah, this is what happens with these kinds of decks. You just like, it's like the players just end up talking about the game for 10 minutes. The commentators end up talking about the game for 10 minutes, like not really knowing what the optimal line actually was. All right, so Hayden's balling to 5 here.
Mulling to 5. Did Andrew keep 7? I've been looking at his deck list.
I think so, but he could have maybe mulled to 6. I've been spending a lot of time looking at the deck list too.
I'm just trying to find a way. I'm trying to find a win right where there probably is none. But I'm wondering about playing like Oath in game 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe this seems like another deck where the Oath sideboard plan is pretty good. But the problem with Oath is you have to go full in on the Oath plan because you can't play Hermit Druid and Oath in the same deck.
I think you would just board out the Hermit Druids, board in the Oaths.
Yeah, board out the Gigapede.
Yeah, and then you just Oath up whatever you feel like. You could even board out the Sutured Ghouls.
I think you have to because if you Oath into a Sutured Ghoul, it could be terrible.
And then you just play like a pretty sweet like control deck game where you, reanimate your opponent's creatures and stuff. Like, just have fun that way. That would be an interesting sideboard plan for this. I don't think that it's not a 1-to-1. It's not like cut X cards from your sideboard, put 4 oaths in, but
no.
Yeah, I also want Andrew to win. It kind of sucks they lost. It's gonna screw up my breakers. I tried to play against Andrew and run the stream on stream. That did not go well.
Ooh, Aiden's going to 4.
Going to 4. That survival mana base bites you again.
Yep.
Unless he's just straight up mulling to Tormod's Crypt.
Yeah, that could be a plan. I actually like the
because it wins, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Andrew is kind of forced into bringing in the crumbles, even though it's a weird reactive card, because otherwise something like a Tormod's Crypt or a Phyrexian Furnace can just completely blow him out and he can't win. But that's why you have the backup oath plan, is basically to just completely get around Tormod's Crypt in your Reanimator deck. Also, having survival in hand is pretty bad here, because Andrew gets 2 chances to make you discard it. So,
well, if Hayden's really mulling to 4, that's asking a lot of your survival plan. Like, you're playing to draw cards. Like, you would have to put survival on the bottom, and keep lands and stuff. Like,
right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my play style, but I never want to go all in on these plans. Like, I always want to have a backup for situations like this, you know. But Hayden has a game to lose, so, you know, maybe he's better off just trying to get the nuts, trying to sculpt a perfect 4-card hand and then draw into survival.
he does get to draw a card since Andrew's on the
Yes.
play too, so that's actually pretty good. 2, 3, 4. Okay. We're gonna go to 19 and play.
Duress him, of
Duress,
course,
yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, of course. Duress that Tormod's Crypt. Gemstone Mine. Yep. He was mulling for the Tormod's Crypt.
Oh, but he
had.
All right, this
There
is
you
a
go.
game.
Yeah.
Let's see if
It's not a great
let's see if
game.
no. Let's see if Andrew has Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, pedal therapy. Oh, imagine.
He's got. I mean, he can untap. He's got a turn to untap.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That is a good 4-card hand, though.
Yeah, that's
Tormod's Crypt, Withered Wretch, 2.
Withered Wretch is great. Like, it's a clock. You know? Too bad Hayden didn't draw a Duress there. He's got the reflecting pool even to make black. All right.
Does he have the Cabal Therapy?
I don't think does he need it? Yes, he would need it. He can't just play the Hermit Druid there and win. But here comes a Withered Wretch.
This is
Entomb? I don't know. That all I see is like a swirling
Entomb, yeah.
space. No, I'm just joking. Andrew put something out that looks like it's that Vanta Black, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, right.
That's from New Border. Doesn't exist yet. I hear they're
It
changing.
is.
Oh, he's just gonna reanimate Iona on this turn.
Right.
He's
Yeah, that
at
seems
8.
fine.
He's at 18.
You go to 10.
Isn't Iona 9? He goes to 9. Wait, not Iona. Akroma.
Akroma.
Look at me making jokes.
Talking about New Border
Making
cards.
New Border cards. I can't even get that one right. Akroma, Angel of Wrath. It's 5. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Iona's 9. Akroma is 8. That's one of my problems. Look, you know.
So exhume or reanimate here.
Hayden having that spirit guide would be sick. Imagine having a spirit guide.
This looks like exhume.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Pew pew.
It's a game. What does Hayden have to stop that? Not a lot. He doesn't have a Gilded Drake to steal.
Could you
it.
imagine? I don't think he has a Gilded Drake though. I didn't see one.
He does not, yeah. I think he just has to win before Chroma kills him. Like, I think this is basically just a 3-turn clock, and
He's
but,
got
I mean,
one
he
card
has
in
no.
hand.
Yeah, right. He has to draw the survival and the creature to discard it. It's looking pretty good for Andrew here.
If he's got a creature in hand, he has to have survival, but even then, it's just like, I don't see it. Let's see. Well, he's going to do something. Maybe he drew the survival. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Does he have another card back there? Yeah, he does. So
One card. This is a game.
Unless Andrew played his Battle to play Crumble. Well, he didn't have it. Might not want
Crumble
Crumble
only hits artifacts, yeah.
Oh, duh. Yeah, yep. 6. Going down to 8. A Gilded Drake. There it is. Why would he do that, though? That gives him a flyer. I don't really get that.
Yeah, that's super weird.
Oh, no, because now he has a Withered Wretch and he can activate it to mess up any graveyard shenanigans. Right? That's what's going on here. Like, Hayden's got a chump block, yeah. And he's going to still have a Withered Wretch, right?
Yeah, so it slows the clock down by 1, the Akroma clock down by 1, but maybe gives Andrew more graveyard control. And now Hayden has to be on the Devourer Triskelion uninteractable plan. Yeah, it's an interesting line. I'm not sure if I would be willing to give up a turn on the Akroma clock. But
he might just not think he has it. Hayden doesn't have it because he would have had to discard a card that turn, and that's not going to do any good.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a creature in hand, or at least he doesn't have a creature. Maybe he has one of the pieces. Like maybe he has a Triskelion in hand and he doesn't want to discard it, so he's trying to draw into another creature. Which now he has more time. He has an extra turn to draw the creature because he can chump with Gilded Drake. Although, God, if Andrew has another reanimation spell and he chumps with Gilded Drake and Gilded Drake goes in the graveyard, then he can Gilded Drake something else away later.
There's not much later going on here, though, you know?
Yeah.
If Andrew had imagine having a second, I guess that wouldn't work because he would just have, imagine you had a second Gilded Drake and just got it, but no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, blocks with a Drake.
Yep. Oh, well, Chroma has Trample, right?
Oh, it does. It doesn't slow down the clock because it has Trample. Okay, all right. You would have put him to 2 this turn without it, but right. So, still wins next turn.
Okay.
Didn't lose much. Got the Withered Wretch. God, I play Akroma. I played Akroma in the last league, and I still forget it has Trample.
Haste, I believe, introduced in Invasion block, and the Vigilance doesn't come along until much later. So it still says attacking does not cause a Angel of Wrath to tap. Now we're going to see who's got no rest, no mercy, no matter what.
Hayden's basically just checking to see if there's any way that he can do anything here, but it's looking pretty good for Andrew, the second game here.
All right, so we go to a rubber match. Hayden sort of very clearly was mulling to Tormod's Crypt, or he could have been mulling to any interaction, right? I mean, he doesn't have a lot. He's got the 3 Tormod's Crypts, and he's got the Withered Wretch, and it does sort of make you think about strategy, right? Like, do you think that Duress is enough that you can keep a hand on? Maybe you don't. Hayden seems to very highly value the ability to get Graveyard Hate in.
Yeah, and mulling to Tormod's Crypt on the play in this third game is going to be really strong. Because basically Andrew has to have Crumble or he can't win the game. He can't really do anything. Or he has to set up a turn where he, entombs something, reanimates it, gets rid of the Tormod's Crypt, and then activates Hermit Druid. These have been good games, though. They've been like very dense. A lot. Rides on each decision that they make.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that there has not been a lot of turns played in this match, but there's been a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
And contrasting that a little bit to our first match. Not that our first match was bad by any means, but this like a different sort of pace of the decisions, right? There was a lot of like draw a card, go, draw a card, go, draw a card, go.
Right.
And in this deck, you've got to think, every turn, what's my best chance to win next turn, because I might lose next turn.
Right. Yeah, these almost feel like a different format.
I think combo has that in its nature a little bit, right? And but that I don't think it's bad or by any means either. I kind of like that. Something like that break from yourself.
Oh, sure. Well, and I mean, there's so many ways to disrupt combo too. They're kind of all in on this very quick plan, and then you duress them, and their deck falls apart. Or
right, we've got a combo. We had an extremely fair mirror versus an extremely combo mirror, in a way. Like they're not the same. None of the four decks were the same, right? But the we didn't have combo versus a fair deck.
Right. Yeah, Tweety's was definitely the more unfair of the two, but I don't know if these were unusual games for him, but it wasn't that fast. What he was doing was very powerful, but he didn't have the same speed that these two decks have. So yeah, in that sense, it was more of a fair deck.
Hayden is going to go down again.
That's Snap Mulligan. Yeah, God, it just feels terrible in this matchup to have survival in your hand. Like, even if I guess if you have duress survival, you feel a little better, but even then, it's easy for your opponent to have two pieces of disruption.
Okay.
I think Andrew is. Yeah, I think Andrew is is comfortable with his 7. I don't think he's mulligan.
Okay, Hayden. Do you want to shuffle again? Because no one really likes doing that. That's one of the reasons I don't mulligan. I hate shuffling. I don't want to shuffle again. I don't want to shuffle again.
Yeah. Yeah, if time were no factor, I would probably pile shuffle after every mulligan, but I know that would piss off my opponent, so I don't do it. Yeah, go into 5.
Oh, come on. It's 7. I think that I read somewhere. It's 7. It's 7 mashes to fully randomize your deck,
Oh, right. Yeah.
or to effectively randomize your deck. I forget what that is. So it was up to 4, 5. If he hits an 8th one, I'm gonna bust him into his. Make him do it.
I think we were talking about this before a little bit, but there are a lot of really bad hands in the survival deck. I mean, there's so many creatures that do absolutely nothing, except when they're in your graveyard being copied by Volrash Shapeshifter.
Well, that and like you can't keep a fair hand. You can't keep like Fyndhorn Elves go necessarily, right? You got to have something.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to have either Disruption or Tormod's Crypt.
Too many matches, Hayden. 7's all you need. Yeah, the Reflecting Pool being in his deck also really makes the mana a lot worse when you're mulliganing. It worked out in the last game because he kept, Gemstone Mine with it, but boy, Reflecting Pool is just such a rough land.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than going, Forest, Fyndhorn Elves.
Reflecting Pool.
Second, right, Reflecting Pool.
Well, it's fine in survival if you had a survival on turn 2, but what is the perfect 5 for Hayden? Well, he's going to keep whatever it is, he's got it. Whatever it is, he's got it because he's made that decision pretty fast.
Like Tormod's Crypt, Duress, Survival on top of your library would probably be the best.
Tormod's Crypt, Land, Duress, Survival. That's 4 of them. And then you're just drawing, and every turn you're trying to activate Survival.
Yeah. That was one kind of interesting thing about the old Scry Mulligan rule, was you did get a chance to put something on top, and on the draw that could be relevant if your opponent is playing Duress.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna get another card here. It's a good point.
All right, let's see. Yep.
There it is.
Tormod's Crypt.
Oh, close enough. He might just have. See, I don't know if do you keep a mana elf here? You keep a bird? Yeah, sure. Maybe that's his only source of non-green mana.
Yeah, Tormod's Crypt is pretty good. It's probably good enough for the first few turns of the game. I mean, it's not going to stop Andrew forever, but it basically keeps him from doing his. So he did bring in the crumble. Okay,
nice
right.
Antiquities crumble. How do you like that? So we got 24 to 19. Oh, he's gonna activate it in response. I guess he doesn't have to. Gain the life. Andrew told him, don't activate it in response. You gain 4. I don't know if that's what he's telling him.
No, I think crumble is.
Oh, jeez, I keep getting mixed up with Nature's Claim. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Jeez, I gotta get more sleep tonight. I took a nap at like 4:30. Underground River.
Ooh, things are looking very good for Andrew.
Hayden drew his 3rd land. There's a survival. Unless it's a Mesmeric Fiend. It's a Withered Wretch.
Oh, that's very good too. Damn.
Yeah, he's going to get to hold it up.
So now Andrew can maybe do some kind of shenanigans like he did the first game with, turn over his deck, reanimate a Gilded Drake. No, he can't. No, he can't do that.
He could exhume though, and then he has 2 Sutured Ghouls.
Oh, true. Yeah.
And I think that's what we're looking at here.
Yeah, if he exhumes, he wins. God.
Oh, no. He's got another. Oh, but yeah. Ooh. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place here. Hayden can hit the Dragon Breath. Maybe he has 2 reanimation spells.
He must. He must.
Hit the Dragon Breath. See if he finds it.
Yeah, so the Dragon Breath is in the graveyard, so that's good to go. He has 2 Sutured Ghouls. So you're right, if he has a second reanimation spell here, then he wins. And if I was good at counting cards, you could actually determine what is in his hand right now, because he's showing his whole graveyard, but not quite that skilled.
I know that you guys are probably thinking he's off the screen, but no, we don't have.
Yeah,
we don't actually have more. It's all black bars.
Yeah, so reanimates the Gilded Drake. Hayden activates in response. Does he have the Exhume? He has the reanimate.
Yep, and that's
so
it.
This is game over.
Well, unfortunately for Hayden, I think that he missed a win here, which was to hit the Dragon Breath, and then on his turn hit the Croson Reclamation.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Hayden saying that he should have grabbed the Fire Breathing card.
Yeah.
But couldn't. No, Andrew could have just Croson Reclamation done. No, you're right. Right, he untaps, then takes the Croson Reclamation. Yeah.
What he could have done. No, that wouldn't have even worked. No, I think it would have been fine.
No.
I think if he reanimated. And Hayden responds with Withered Wretch on Dragon Breath. You just cast Croson Reclamation right there.
Yeah. Well, and also one thing we weren't thinking about is if Reanimate resolves there, then Andrew gets the Withered Wretch, which means that Hayden can no longer activate it when he untaps.
Right. I'm saying that Andrew could have. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so he basically forced him to use Withered Wretch that turn. Taking the Dragon Breath, though...
Then you just reanimate the Sutured Ghoul, you untap, you play Croson Reclamation on your upkeep, and then you attack with the Sutured Ghoul.
My record is 4-2, Brian. Finished the league 4-2.
Oh, so another game that ended very quickly.
Yeah. Got a game that ended very quickly. So... Anyway, that's it for our Swiss rounds in the league. Lauren, I know you need to go to your match, so we can see who makes top 8. But we'll be back with top 8 next week. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and thanks, Lauren, for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks a lot.